Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Chief Guest, Justice Fakhruddin Ibrahim, Janab Saleh Naqvi Sahab, the other distinguished guests, donors, sponsors, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a great pleasure for me on the eve of the Independence Day of the country to welcome you to participate in this particular inaugural function, which is a function to set up a hospital and to help the patients who are terminally ill or who need curative care from the doctors. It was, as you heard, the managing trustee. It was a very humble start. To tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'll not take you through the whole presentation because due to the light, you may not be able to see the screens so visibly. I'll not like to take you through that, but that presentation is available on our website. I'll like simply to reiterate a few points and will take leave. The point which was made by Zainab Ibrahim, the managing trustee, the person whose dream was to construct and come up with an operational purpose-built facility, that dream has today basically come true. And what we have today is a purpose-built facility of a 45-bed hospital with basically all diagnostic facilities of mammogram, ultrasound, x-rays, and other diagnostic facilities available in-house. And with this, we have a big challenge ahead. We constructed this hospital on a plot which was donated, and on that donated plot, we constructed this hospital. The hospital construction cost and the equipment cost was almost over 100 billion. Now with this, we have started one floor at the moment, and some of you who have gone to the hospital or visited the facilities, or those who will go after this function and try to look around, will see that we are fully operational on one floor, and the only constraint which we have at the moment is the funding support. That is because what we have now is not a small facility which was on a rented premises, and a lot of people were contributing time voluntarily. Now we have a purpose-built facility where we have got doctors, full-time nurses, we have got the administrative support, the administrative director, the medical director, and the whole infrastructure. We have got the ERP set up for all our processes, and as such, the total organizational cost to make sure that this becomes an institution has been pretty much cost. What we have seen actually is that once handled by the doctor about 3 days a week from January to this particular day, it has been several times what we had over the last year. So naturally the requirement has increased. The type of the cancers which we have handled, and all of that is in the presentation. Generally, the most common one, which about 42% of the patients who have been treated or who have been there admitted in the hospital were for the breast, ovary, and cervical cancer. Then the next was 30% was for chest, tongue, larynx, lung, and esophagus cancers. These are the two major ones. The 72% of the patients were suffering from these two cancers. And then we have the gallbladder, urinary bladder, stomach, and pancreas. So that's about 14%, and 14% is for all other cancers. Now to cater to the growing need, we worked out the overall cost of the hospital and the hospice facility for a full capacity operation. Our cost comes to about 135 million rupees per annum. That means there is an amount of 13 crore almost which we need for a year to be able to run the hospital on a full capacity. If we continue a constrained or a restrictive operations as we are doing at the moment, that only will need about 40 to 45 million rupees. So what we are looking for now is to make sure that we do mobilize the resources in a more planned way, and our objective is to make this hospital and the hospice facility a sustainable unit over a period of 3 to 5 years. That's our objective which we are moving ahead with. And in order to do that, we have made several requests now in different forms. I'm sure all of you here must have been contributing for one cause or the other. And that is something which is the great asset of this country. At this particular occasion, on the eve of the Independence Day, we must recognize that the philanthropy which is there in Pakistan is none to any other country, is far more than a lot of others. The problem which we have in that is there is very little cohesion amongst various people who were doing that particular work, and a lot of repetition, or the effective productivity and the efficiency, that is the value for the money which one gets, is not that much as is required. And in order to do so, one needs to mobilize in the resources and the funds and coordinate with other facilities as effectively as one would like to. For example, we don't have an operation theatre facility in this hospital. And the reason for that is that it is not cost effective for a facility of this kind to have an operation theatre facility. We have arrangements with the hospitals who have been, and the doctors who have been extremely kind to allow us to send our patients and get the surgeries done at very discounted rates, far lesser than any particular facility being provided by any other hospital. We are strengthening that relationship further in terms of our surgery. But in order to move forward, now there are several ways we can try to approach the donors to collect funds. We have got about 110 million already in our endowment, and that is giving us somewhere about 12 billion rupees to help the cause which we have. The fixed cost which we have, even those if we have to meet, we naturally need almost not 12 million, about 45 to 50 million rupees. And in order to meet that, we would like our endowment fund to be raised from 110 million to 500 million. And that is one particular objective. We are requesting donors and philanthropists to come forward and help us to develop this endowment fund from 110 million to 500 billion. That's one particular request which we are making. Then we have basically regular contributories, people who are donating us on a regular basis, who have been contributing between 15 to 20 million from year to year. We expect that that contribution will remain and will have an increase in that contribution as well. Besides that, we are now launching a sponsorship plan. And that sponsorship plan is that you can sponsor the average cost of a patient by just contributing 100,000 rupees per annum. If you just contribute 100,000 for a year, you can sponsor a patient. You can sponsor a bed with 700,000 rupees. If you just pay 700,000, the one bed for the whole year will stand sponsored and will be able to meet the cost of one particular bed for 1 year. And that is the contribution which we are looking for. I'm glad to announce that we have not formally launched the scheme as yet, but we have had commitments coming from a lot of organizations. Just today, we have received a commitment from Pakistan Petroleum Limited to be able to fund and sponsor 5 beds facilities. We've had several commitments coming